Breaking news. Tensions between the United States and Iran remain dangerously high as critical negotiations stall, exposing deep divisions that could shape not only the future of the Middle East, but global stability itself. At the center of this crisis lies Iran's nuclear program. The United States, under Donald Trump, is demanding a complete halt, pushing for strict, long-term, and potentially permanent restrictions. But Tehran has made its position clear. It will not accept indefinite limits on its nuclear ambitions. Iranian officials argue that any deal must be time-bound, balanced, and respectful of their sovereignty. This fundamental clash of expectations has become one of the biggest obstacles to any agreement. Another major sticking point is Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium, estimated at around 400 kilograms. Washington has proposed taking custody of this material as part of a deal. However, Tehran has outright rejected the demand, calling it unacceptable and a violation of its national security. For Iran, giving up control over its uranium is not just a technical issue, it's a matter of power, pride, and deterrence. At the same time, the situation is escalating beyond diplomatic rooms. The strategically vital Strait of Hormuz has once again become a major flashpoint. Iran has imposed restrictions on shipping in the region and has clearly stated that these will remain in place until the United States lifts its naval blockade on Iranian ports. Washington, however, is holding firm, insisting that the blockade will only be lifted after a deal is finalized. This deadlock is raising serious concerns about global oil supply disruptions and the possibility of military escalation. Economic pressure is another critical dimension of this crisis. Iranian officials are demanding the unfreezing of nearly $20 billion in assets, along with broader sanctions relief. But that's not all. Iran is also seeking war reparations, estimating damages at around $270 billion due to past U.S. and allied military actions. These demands are being viewed in Washington as unrealistic, further widening the already deep divide between the two sides. Behind the scenes, intense diplomatic activity is still underway. Regional powers are stepping in to prevent a complete collapse of negotiations. Pakistan, in particular, is playing a key mediating role. Communications between Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif highlight ongoing efforts to bridge the gap. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has also been actively engaging with regional counterparts, including Egypt and Turkey. Discussions have focused on diplomacy, ceasefire stability, and the broader negotiation process. Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has reportedly been in contact with multiple stakeholders, including Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, indicating a coordinated effort to keep dialogue channels open. Despite these efforts, uncertainty has grown after a sudden and unexpected move by Washington. The planned visit of U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff to Islamabad was abruptly canceled. This decision, confirmed directly by Donald Trump, has cast serious doubt over the future of the current round of negotiations. According to Trump, Iran had presented a proposal, but it simply was not enough to meet U.S. expectations. Trump also emphasized that the United States holds a position of strength, stating that there was no justification for sending top-level negotiators if the outcome would not align with American interests. However, his remarks have left many questions unanswered, particularly regarding what exactly Washington is willing to accept. On the military front, pressure continues to build. The U.S. is maintaining a strong naval presence in the region, particularly around the Sea of Oman, while also monitoring Iranian maritime activity closely. Iranian leadership has described these actions as provocative, at times even calling them an act of war and a violation of the fragile ceasefire. Trust, or rather the lack of it, remains the biggest challenge. Iranian leadership has repeatedly emphasized that without a respectful and pressure-free environment, meaningful progress will be impossible. From Tehran's perspective, ongoing blockades and military pressure undermine the very foundation of diplomacy. Yet despite all these tensions, the door to dialogue has not completely closed. Both sides appear cautious, aware that a complete breakdown in talks could lead to open conflict, something neither side can fully control once it begins. For now, the world watches closely. The ceasefire remains fragile, negotiations are uncertain, and the gap between Washington and Tehran is still dangerously wide. The coming days will be critical, because the question is no longer just whether a deal can be reached, but whether diplomacy can survive at all.